Hi, welcome to my humble abode. So I'm going to start with my lesson plan, and for my lesson plan I changed three things. One was in my motivation, and since I kind of talked about what we are doing now, I forgot to talk about what we had done. So I put in we have been working with tens and ones and counting. So today we will write our numbers using base 10 blocks. Another thing I did that I thought would be good to advance my lesson plan is I put a video on it that kind of goes a little more into depth to the base 10 blocks. So I did that, and I put that in my body, and also in my body I put a progress check so students can identify the tens and ones in certain problems, so I can know I can check along the way also for doing that. So how I would teach my lesson, obviously I'd be like, good morning students, today we are going to work on identifying and writing numbers with base 10 blocks. We have been working with counting, so now we will be able to write out our numbers using base 10 blocks, or it'd be draw our numbers. So these are my base 10 blocks. I was going to steal some. So I'm just going to do, these are my tens, and then I'm going to do spaghetti noodles for ones. And I thought that even if maybe your school is low income or something like that, it'd be good for students to do that too. So that's my first thing, is I would introduce it. And then I would pass out the manipulatives, or noodles in this case. And then I would be like, okay students, this is a 10. So whenever we see one of these, we know that it has, it's a value of 10. So if I have 2, that means I have a value of 20, 3, 30, so on and so forth. And then I would do my ones. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. So I can say, since I have 10 of these, that is the same of having one of these. So I can do that. And then now I had a transition, so I would go to the board and do practice problems. So here's my makeshift board. I would say, how would I write 17 in 17 in our manipulatives? So we would explain, I'd do, well, in my tens place, there's a 1. So I would say, since we need 1 10, so this is 1. In our ones place, how many do we have in our ones place, students? And then they'd say 7. So I'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have our tens 1 and our ones 7. So I now have 17. And then another problem that you could do that would make it a little harder is like 23. So then I'd be like, how many do we have in our tens place? So they'd look, they know tens place is there. So they'd say 2. So now I have 10, 20, and that's something I would have them do. I'd count them out loud. And then I would do, how many do we have in our ones? So there's 3. So I'd count 1, 2, 3. So we'd say, let's count it together. 10, 20, 1, 2, 3. So then, another thing I would do is, if I have an overhead cam, I'd do it on there. Or if I had just a whiteboard, I would draw it on the whiteboard. So I'd be like, they'd all have their whiteboards out. So I would say, if I have, 30. If I have this many, you can see, there's 5 here. If I have this many, what is my number? And then I'd give them a little bit, and then I'd have someone come up and count it out loud to me. So they would be like 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they'd say 35. So is that right? Yes, no, so on and so forth. So we do a few more of those, and then I'd hand out the worksheet. And then once they did the first 2 on the worksheet, we would do our progress check to see if they can move on or not. And then we will finish the worksheet, and then I like going over together as a class, so I could have some students come up for each problem and they could physically show it. And so we would, once everyone completed the worksheet, and we would do that, and then I would have, obviously my assessment would be a summative informal assessment, which would be like over the worksheet. So yeah, that is how I would teach that lesson.